Well, it's some time since I did my Hotline cleaning and repair guide, and during those videos that I made I never actually took the motor apart because at the time I'd never had any trouble with the motors. But since doing those videos I've had a couple of motors that have stopped working, so I've been forced to actually take the motor apart, and all I found was that inside was pretty gunged up with crud. So just purely cleaning up the motor brought it back to life again. So here we have a Hotline Speedchief motor, which this one doesn't work, and it's been kicking around in one of my boxes for ages, so I thought I'd open it up and see why it's not working. I'm hoping it's the same problem again, that it's just clogged up with crud. But while I was doing it I thought, well, I may as well share this with you so you can see what the inside of the Hotline motor looks like, and to see hopefully how this is quite an easy fix. So I've got a D cell here with some wires on, and I'll just demonstrate this motor is dead as a nit. I'm just going to put these wires on these two contacts here, and you see there's just nothing going on at all. So in order to get the Speedchief down to this sort of state, you'd need to look at my other videos of the cleaning and repair guide to get it down to this position where we've just got the motor exposed and we've taken the back wheels off. I'm not going to disconnect any of these cables. I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible. So we're just going to pull this motor out. Yeah, it's just a matter of unclipping this using my screwdriver here. There's a little clip here at the front just to release the motor, and then it's just a case of there's two little metal tabs here that we just have to push back in order to release the front end plate. And hopefully this will now just pull off relatively easily. Let's pull the inside out here. So this little piece here comes off, and you can release the actual motor itself. It just doesn't look too bad. The other one I had open before was quite black inside. But what we'll do, we'll just clean this up. This is sort of a mark here, a score mark on the commutator. Basically we'll just get some wet and dry paper and we'll just polish all this up, put it back together, and we'll see if we can bring it back to life. So I've got my bit of wet and dry paper here, but I'm just going to work my way around this commutator. And just try and polish it all up. It's quite badly tarnished actually. You can see on this camera, but as I'm going around it is starting to look a lot better. So I'm going to work away with this for a little while, and we'll see if we can get it back working again. So we've cleaned up the motor spindle, and I've rubbed the commutator here, which is the part that the motor brushes rub against to make the motor spin. And I've gone through the various grades of wet and dry paper, and I've also rubbed down these are the two motor brushes here, and they had some sort of black pitting on the face of them, probably caused by the arcing of the motor when it was spinning around. So I've also cleaned those up. And if you find the inside of your motor is really gunged up like the other ones I was using had the problem with, basically I just ran the motor parts under a tap and just cleaned them up with a toothbrush, because they were absolutely black with like a thick sort of oily mucky gunge. So hopefully this bit of cleaning will make this motor come back to life. I'm just going to put some of this, this is an electronic cleaning solvent for electronic components. So I'm just going to put a little squirt of this onto the brushes and on the commutator before we put it back together. This stuff just sort of evaporates immediately that you put it on. So hopefully this will give the motor a chance. Right, we'll put the motor back together now. Just looking inside the casing to make sure that when you put it back together, there's the lighter coloured magnet here is always facing the top. And the way to put this back together is to put the spindle back in the casing first, with it just sticking out slightly so we can see the commutator. Now we don't have to pin back these brushes like we do on the Sizzlers motors and the Electro Rockets motors, because these are quite chunky. So it's just a matter of sort of wiggling it around really until we get the brushes either side of the commutator. It's very, so compared to the Electro Rockets and Sizzlers, it's fairly easy to put back together. Yeah, just a click there. We'll just put this end piece on here to stop it from falling to pieces. And then it's just a matter of bending the tabs back on the end of the motor. Right, putting the motor back into the actual chassis, there's a little flat bit here that goes underneath the clip at the front, so it's quite easy to just sneak back in there. Actually, before I put that back in, I was just going to put a drop of this is just machine oil onto the end of the spindle here. So we're just going to see if this has solved the problem with this motor. I've got a D-cell here with some wires. I'm just going to attach it, doesn't matter which way around, to see if this will come back to life. There we are. That's all it was, a bit of cleaning. So I think we need to run this properly for a while, get it going again. Sounds a bit, it just needs a bit of a proper run, a run in. But anyway, that's how to bring your motor back to life on your Hotline train. So it's just a matter of taking it apart, very simple, but simple cleaning inside, and it should be running again. So I've been running this for a little while now, and the motor's getting a lot stronger the more I'm running it, and I've added the wheels on now. So I'll just give you an example of how this is running after a 15 minutes or so permanent running. See, it's a lot stronger now. I've added a bit more like machine oil onto the ends of the spindle where it comes out of the motor casing, and it seems to have really freed it up. So it looks like another one good to go for the track.